Okay, let's just jump right into this explainer. We're going to peel back the layers on the secret history and the frankly terrifying lingering science of the world's most restricted laboratories. We're talking about places that are quite literally off limits to the public, and for incredibly good reason. Imagine a piece of land so thoroughly contaminated that sheep placed there for a test died within days, and the soil itself remained deadly for over 40 years. Crazy, right? Well, today we're unpacking the reality behind every secret chemical and biological facility you're just not allowed to enter. By the time we wrap this up, you're going to have a completely new understanding of the ground we walk on, the microscopic threats engineered in secret, and the hidden physical legacies of the world wars.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Beyond the Campus Fences and the Mundane Facade.
To truly understand these sites, we first have to look at how perfectly ordinary they appear from the outside. I want you to imagine walking past a standard, unremarkable perimeter fence. You know the exact type we're talking about, right? Chain link, maybe topped with a little barbed wire, standard issue government signage, well-manicured grass. You might see a bored security guard drinking coffee in a little booth, or just a completely standard gray parking lot. The buildings inside look like they could belong to a boring corporate accounting firm or a quiet community college. We drive past facades exactly like this, literally all the time on our daily commutes. But ask yourself, what deadly secrets could possibly be hiding just behind those ordinary-looking fences? This matters because the greatest threats, they rarely look like a villain's lair from a spy movie. They look completely normal. And that normalcy is entirely by design.
It's a complete mind-bender when you think about the stark, chilling contrast here between the boring, everyday exterior and the incredibly lethal reality of what humanity has engineered on the inside. Outwardly, completely mundane. But on the inside, brilliant scientists have spent literally decades developing the most lethal chemicals ever conceived by humanity. The cognitive dissonance is just utterly fascinating. Think about it. You've got top-tier scientists going to work every single day, grabbing a coffee in the break room, walking down totally ordinary linoleum hallways, and then engineering substances specifically designed to end human life on a massive, unfathomable scale. It's a dual reality hiding right in plain sight. The architecture is designed to blend in, while the science inside is designed to stand out as the absolute pinnacle of human destruction.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Forbidden Research Sites, a Pattern of Restriction.
So moving from the concept of hidden labs, let's look at the actual geography of where these lethal developments took place. We aren't just looking at one rogue lab operating in the shadows here. We're looking at a systemic, heavily guarded network of highly restricted zones. These were born out of the desperation of the world wars, and each specialized in entirely different methods of microscopic destruction. Take Porton Down in the UK, established during the First World War. This site represents an intense, highly classified focus on chemical warfare research. It was here that scientists raced to out-innovate the horrifying gases used in the trenches. Now contrast that deeply chemical focus with Gruinard Island, this remote, windswept landmass off the coast of Scotland. During the Second World War, this island was used for catastrophic biological testing. It wasn't about gases anymore. It was about weaponizing nature itself. These aren't just random dots on a map. They're highly specific, forbidden geographic locations where these world-altering experiments were actively contained.
Which brings us to Section 3, Mechanics of Nerve Agents, the Microscopic Threat. Okay, we've seen the geography, so let's zoom all the way into the microscopic level to understand the actual science of these weapons. When we talk about chemical warfare mechanics, we are specifically looking at the absolute most dangerous agents developed at these facilities. The names that dominate the source material are sarin and VX. Now, actually, let's be really clear. These aren't just poisons you might accidentally ingest. They are incredibly volatile, highly engineered compounds designed for maximum, terrifying lethality. They operate on a molecular level to completely disrupt the vital communication pathways of the human body. To understand why places like Porton Down are still so heavily restricted today, you really have to respect the sheer unnatural power of agents like sarin and VX. They represent the dark peak of chemical engineering. And this isn't just random biological damage either. It is a calculated, terrifyingly efficient sequence that breaks down exactly how these nerve agents override the body's internal mechanics. The moment the chemical agent enters the body, whether inhaled or just absorbed right through the skin, it initiates a highly specific biological reaction that fundamentally hijacks the central nervous system. It acts like a microscopic saboteur, blocking the critical enzymes that allow muscles and organs to relax. Because of this, the body's signals cross, electrical circuits overload, and muscles just lock up. And that hijacking leads directly to catastrophic, complete systemic failure. The heart, the lungs, the brain, they are simply overwhelmed by their own unceasing electrical signals. These chemicals were perfected in absolute secret to be overwhelmingly efficient at shutting down human biology in a matter of minutes. Let's pivot to Section 4, Anthrax in the Soil, the Biological Threat. While chemical weapons like sarin and VX are terrifying because of their immediate speed, biological threats introduce a completely different kind of danger to the environment. The crucial word here is time, massive scales of time. When we talk about biological experiments, like the infamous anthrax trials conducted at Gruinard Island during the Second World War, the threat doesn't just evaporate when the scientists pack up their equipment and head home. It doesn't just wash away in the Scottish rain. The spores of a weaponized bacteria like anthrax are incredibly resilient. They enter the ground, they go dormant, and they remain trapped right there in the soil for decades. Literally decades. The land itself effectively becomes the weapon, silently holding onto its lethality long, long after the war is over. To truly grasp why these islands and facilities remain locked away from the public for so long, we have to look at the terrifying reality of biological persistence. This is the exact scientific concept that keeps those fences up. Biological persistence is basically, well, microscopic stubbornness. It's the unique ability of a pathogen, like anthrax, to simply survive and remain highly infectious out in the open environment. These pathogens don't need a host to stay dangerous. They just wait. And the chilling part is, they're going to keep waiting, retaining all of their lethal potential until humanity actively intervenes to rigorously disinfect the land. It really forces us to realize that these forbidden sites aren't just locked up to keep prying eyes out. They're quarantined because the very dirt beneath your boots is deeply infectious. Finally, we reach Section 5, Unsealing Toxic Time Capsules, and the Lingering Legacy. Zooming back out from the microscopic science and the infected soil, we need to completely reframe how we view these abandoned historical spaces today. I absolutely love this phrase from our sources, toxic time capsules. It perfectly captures what these facilities are. They aren't just empty labs or forgotten islands. They're physical monuments preserving the most dangerous innovations of the world wars. Think about the dark irony here. A normal time capsule is usually something optimistic, right? You bury a newspaper, some coins, maybe a photograph, to show future generations how we lived and what we valued. These facilities are the exact opposite. They are time capsules that preserve how we learned to destroy. They are historical markers of humanity's darkest scientific achievements, frozen in time behind barbed wire, acting as silent warnings. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, haunting thought to ponder about the hidden history that surrounds us every day. If places like Portendown and Gruinard Island still exist, acting as literal containment zones for decades-old sarin, VX, and anthrax, what other dangerous physical legacies of the world wars are still lingering right beneath our feet today? What else is buried, just out of sight, quietly persisting in the soil or locked behind a totally mundane door? It kind of makes you look at every fenced-off, ordinary piece of land just a little bit differently, doesn't it? Thanks for exploring these forbidden sites with me today. Keep asking questions, and always look beyond the facade.